It's an expensive machine.
So I know you don't
Yeah,
have shoes.
yeah, it's a lot more comfortable. It's a nerves thing.
You gotta sit there and move the fiber around yourself. Then
Alright, so
down. This one holds it in place.
let's start going through this guy. Y'all can come in a little bit closer if you need. So with the system that we're using, it requires really minimal effort. The system does a lot of work for you, and it's great. What we have in front of us, we have our fiber holders. These are to secure the fiber. This is a stripper for the fiber. This uses heat to strip the cladding or the coating off the fiber, and the buffer tube if it's a tight buffer. He gets them right. Cleaver cleaves them, then we load them in the Fusion Splicer. Okay. So the number one thing to remember is don't forget your protective sleeve. If you splice this guy, you're like, all right, cool, and you got to move him into the oven, and I don't have a, break it, start over. So don't forget the tube. So I'm gonna do the first one. Does anybody know the color code?
Yeah, blue, orange, green, brown, sleeve, white.
And?
So you basically have to, actually have to splice all of the fiber in there, or just what are you going to use?
This is just an example. I just have what I have open right now. This is a single mode tight buffer. I'm starting on number 1 strand. Which is going to splice them together. We're just making one big ring of fiber for right now, just to give everybody at least a shot to do one splice. So before I do anything, I load the sleeve on. And if you're doing a job, load all the sleeves on before you get started. Just load them all on. That way they're done. And you don't, because you get in a roll, you're like, all right, things are going great. You'll
You look at it.
you
no
kicking,
sleeve.
you're kicking your own ass. Yeah.
So in order to use a cable, you have to basically splice all of the fiber.
No, you can only use what you need. You only splice what you need. So if they only wanted 3 strands of this, we put 3 connections on and move on. The rest of them can just be coiled up and used later.
And it has to be in succession of the colors, right?
Yeah, you absolutely want to go in, because the guy on the other end of the line's not going to know what's going on. So we want to make sure we follow the color code. So blue, orange, green, brown, slate, white, red, black.
While running backwards, you done.
Yeah, while running backwards, you done.
Red, black, yellow, violet, rose, aqua.
Pink.
And this rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And now if you're dealing with a splice where you have 144 splices, you will have 12 buffer tubes of that color sequence. And every buffer tube, you start your 12 over again. Boom, 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 boom. Over and over. And then it goes on from there. If you have multiples, because you can have 2 blue buffer tubes, they'll add a black trace on it. So you know, this is the 2nd run. 2 black traces. This is the 3rd run. It just keeps getting more and more and more. So anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our heater, and now we want to look at, I want to make sure to point out to you, there are 2 different types of fiber clamps here. They're labeled 09 and 025. The 025, this corresponds directly to the nanometer of the highest coating on the fiber. So if you've got tight buffer, you have a 900 nanometer. Use the 9s. Okay. If you have loose tube, remember we don't have the buffer. It's 250 micron, so that's what the 25s are for. All right. Good. Good. All right. So I'm gonna get one of the 9s ready. I'm gonna go ahead and preload him. They're magnetic.
Okay. Oh, it even loads in the stripper?
Yeah.
Oh shit. I think we have that in place.
You heard her beauty though.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 9 micron, I'm going to lay them in here, and what I'm looking for is it even tells you the FC7, which is what we're getting ready to load. The FC7, FC8 are the same basic. We just want the tip somewhere in that yellow line where it says FC7. Can you get that, G?
Anywhere in there?
Anywhere in there. Anywhere in there is perfectly fine.
Yeah, because once it cleaves, it's going to be a perfect measurement.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
So we're going to load him in there. We're going to lock him in place. At this point, fiber's not going anywhere. He is locked in place. Close both sides. Our heater starts to flash. We're going to gently, and I mean very gently, we're going to squeeze both ends and just pull apart.
Nice. You want that?
So we got that.
Very expensive piece.
It'll be worth it.
It makes it easier, right?
It will be worth it. It will be worth it.
Once he stuck it in
John
there,
said to me,
now you never got to
you
touch
buy
it.
that, you're going to need it that.
It'll stay.
All right, so I got my fiber cleaning
strip it ourselves.
Fiber fluid.
You ain't never gotta touch it again.
This is the only time I'm gonna clean. Hear it squeak?
Yep.
Squeak, squeak. It's perfect. We go onto our cleaver. Now we have to set the cleaver on the side. And you'll know he's not set because the fiber catch is closed. Notice when I open him up, he's open. So he's opening up.
Okay.
Got my row?
Click.
Clicks open. We then want to load him in. This part's non-magnetic. It just has a little spring holding the side, and we want to make sure that the fiber is relatively straight. Everybody see pretty good?
Yep.
And then I'm just gonna push down firmly. He is now cleaved. I open him up.
There's your perfect measurement.
You should be able to read your measurements. We're gonna open up our splice. We're gonna bring him down, and notice
Left and right.
Notice that there's a little blue V channel right here, right at the end.
This should be in the notch, huh? Yep.
See him right there? See how the fiber's in the notch?
Yeah, it's on the notch.
That's what we want to see. Once we get to that point, we're just going to close him up. Dust is the enemy. You'll see him start lining up. He's waiting for the next fiber to come into play. So, it's rinse repeat time. We're going to go ahead.
Now you can do the other end, right?
Correct. Don't touch your hands in this stuff. Don't get your oils in it. It's a bad thing. So get the other end. The other 9 micron. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm waiting for my flashy to stop. It doesn't take long at all. Gentle. Sleeve's already on it.
So much easier.
All right. I'm going to do a no-no today because this isn't crucial, but you never use the same wipe twice. Ever. Unless it's today. Because this is example only.
Now, John, did all of that
Squeaky,
stuff
squeaky.
come
Kenny.
with the splicer?
Don't use napkin.
Some did. Some did. All right, so again, for this guy to load, notice at the side, he's just got a little spring right here in the side of the cleaver.
Okay.
Right there. So I kind of have to load that side in first and then lock him in. And again, I'm making sure that my fiber is relatively straight. Gentle push till it clicks. I can now take him out. Now we're going for the other side. Just like that. Close him up. And you'll see both of them come right in.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and tell him to start. He's actually doing all his alignment right now. He's checking all his different axes. That's why you see the X, Y, and Z keep popping up. He's performing it, and he's going to give us a 0 dB loss. No loss. No.
Manufacturer.
Yeah. So here comes the other part too. We're going to have to open him up, and now we need, before we do anything else, we want to position that sleeve in play because we're going to load him into the oven next. So we bring this guy around.
So you have to fuse it in place.
It's fused now.
Yeah, it's fused. Like right now, you can see
Right. I mean, so
he's fused.
we're talking about the sleeve.
Just needs to be baked.
Yeah. So the sleeve we want to position as close to the middle as possible. The oven itself is at the top of the machine, and it actually has little markers on so you know what size sleeve you're using. So we're gonna. I'm keeping somewhat taut on the fiber. I do one side, he locks in. I'm now pulling on this side down, he locks in. Keep dust out. That's our little oven indicator. He's going to go through the process. He'll go through a cooling process, and he'll let you know when he's ready for you to take him out.
Oh, that's time intensive, isn't it?
With this mark? You can.
No, I'm talking about just doing the installing the fiber.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fiber has a lot of attention to detail. You just have to be on point the entire process. But this, in general, is really quick. They have a shoulder strap kit for this guy, so it'll just hang right there on you, and you can just load and run as you go. You can have people prepping fiber and just feeding it to you, and just roll, roll, roll.
That's so much easier because in
You're talking about
2011.
there's a holder for
Yeah,
that?
there's a little neck harness that comes down, and he'll lock right into it.
Do we need to get one?
It would be nice to have, especially if you're working in, like, you got your splice tray at the top of the shelf, You want to get on a ladder up there and try to do all this mess? Nah, just keep it right there on your body, and you can. It's right there in front of you. You can
Why don't you,
keep going.
If you could, when you get a chance,
Yeah.
buy one,
Yeah.
so we can get, so I can get that. And then anything else we need to get?
We need that Lamborghini, obviously.
Wow. That's not.
You
The one
said
that-
anything.
The one that says pivotal on it?
Yeah.
That's
They
not
already
accurate.
went through the process.
All right. So,
Personalized plate say pivotal
so now we're gonna open this guy up,
It's so much easier than the one that-
lift him out,
like,
and we set him. This is a cooling tray. He's just made out of aluminum. He just dissipates heat, and we're done. Strand 1 is on. Again, if you remember from the slide, if you look at it post, there's no trumpeting. He's not open on the ends. If you hold him up to the light, the fiber's not kinked. There's no bubbles.
Yeah, straight.
Yeah. There's no singe marks on the outside of the buffer. It's good to go. He's good to go. So if we had a case that we had him loaded in, and keep in mind this is for buffer tube, but just for an example's sake, if we had him fed in, we would be doing something akin to this. We'd obviously leave a lot more fiber in play in order to do this, because all your service slack is kept in the case. We'd run him around and load him into the holder, and then we'd note this came from this buffer tube to this buffer tube, because this guy is made to load 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 buffer tubes just in this one case that could be routed any number of ways. So we have to keep track, intricate records, everything, because if you have to go back and find him, it's a nightmare. Shining light, bending fiber, you see it pop up, it's a nightmare. So who wants to do number 2?